Who, me?
You play centre back, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Ski boost.
I'm available and I'm cheap. Here we go. It's Pompey Pod with Mike, Dan, and Tolly. Good evening, gents. How are we?
Good evening, Mike.
Very good, thank you.
Not too bad.
Good,
Could be better.
Good. Could be better. This is another away defeat. The Oxford away win is a long time ago now, distant memory. It was a terrible defeat, but it was a terrible game on a terrible pitch at a pretty terrible ground, wasn't it?
Just with a terrible referee.
Oh, I hate that fella.
I nearly added in the referee.
I hate that fella.
He's not the best, is he?
But not even to against Pompey. Just awful.
Just generally,
awful.
Yeah. In fact, that was probably the best bit of the game, wasn't it? When he got clattered in the face with the ball.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't have happened if he'd given them a penalty, which they probably deserved for that clothesline.
It's just a foul, wasn't it? But yeah, I don't know. Very odd.
Where do we start?
Well, obviously, but let's start from the team news firstly, because obviously there's a cryptic John Mousinho in the week, not really giving any information about the clearly long-term injuries to both defenders who got injured last weekend. Obviously, we started with Pack.
If you don't talk about it, it won't happen.
Yeah, just hope. It's just like hoping it doesn't happen. Yeah, obviously we can see in hindsight that it didn't work, but is Pack the best option at the moment, or do you think Towler deserves a shot back in there?
I don't think either of those options are the best option, and maybe we'll talk about this later, but I still think putting Ogilvie inside as a centre-back and putting Bramall on the left would be my preferred option, unless there's some reason why he's not doing that.
The Towler Brigade are not going to be happy with that. Lots of
clearly he's not happy with Towler, though, is he? Clearly, if he's going to play a centre midfielder at centre back on the left side as well, when Towler is obviously a left-sided centre back, he's clearly not. There's something, but whether it's in training or he just doesn't think he's good enough. You'd rather see Ogilvie there, though, Tolly.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't know. I mean, he spends 5 days a week with these guys. He knows what they're good at, what they're not good at. But I think whenever we've seen Towler in that centre-back position, he's always looked a little bit... He's always just a couple of steps away from making a massive tit of himself, isn't he? And I think that's the thing anyway that I can kind of think of, is that he just looks a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he'd be better alongside Poole. Obviously, Poole's the more experienced kind of stabiliser, but Towler always looks like he's just about to make a massive, bloomer.
Yeah, I know what you mean. He fills me with nerves. Although I thought his last little run of games, he didn't actually do too badly. I thought he was fairly okay in those, but I don't know if that was just because he didn't come up against anyone to really test them. But yeah, it's nervous, isn't it? But obviously Poole's that's his first kind of full game since being injured, so even that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? We've got 3 games coming up in the space of 8 days, 7 days. Is his fitness going to be last thing we need now is for him to be out as well, because we would be screwed. Anyway, we kind of ended the game with Ogilvie kind of playing as a centre back, didn't we? So maybe that was a bit of an experiment, although it was more of a 3 at the back at that stage.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the game. So we managed to concede a goal from our own corner, pretty much.
Oh. No, it was a free kick, wasn't it? It
was a free kick. It was a free kick. You're right. Sorry, it was a free kick.
That wonderful cross that Murphy put in.
Which one?
Yeah.
The one where he just kicked it along the floor. It was good, wasn't it?
Like the other. He didn't have his best game, did he, Murphy? Let's be honest.
No.
He's been great in the last few games, but I don't think he really did much right against.
No, nothing came off for him, did it?
No.
And to be fair, their fullback was pretty pacey as well, wasn't he? And maybe that put him off his stride a little bit, because normally he's got the fullback for pace, and their kind of wing back kind of matched him a couple of times on sprints, didn't he? And to the point where Murphy even then clattered him at one stage, didn't he, when he got his booking, which was just clearly
I think he should have been sent off for that, because I only saw one replay of it, and it looked like, correct me if I'm wrong, but from the replay I saw, it looked like he just swiped him. He just literally just swiped, just booted him. But that was only one replay, so I don't know whether you saw more of it than I did, but I thought it was quite filth.
It was naughty. I think red would have been a bit harsh, personally. And I think he did quite well not to react, because the guy clearly kind of grabbed his leg. Kind of, I only assume he was aiming for him to try and kick out or something like that, which he didn't do. He just kind of was fairly calm about it. But it was filth. But
I think we had quite a few bad challenges on Saturday. It's probably because I was saying last week that we're not a dirty team, and then they decided to go out and kick, because Dazelle did one within sort of 5 minutes, didn't he? Where he just
really early,
flew into someone.
But I wonder if we were just expecting the physical game, because obviously it was a physical game, but it just seemed like everyone was going a bit over the top physically, weren't they, from a Pompey point of view? It's just whether they over anticipated it and just try to combat it. There's something they were aware of, but just lost control a little bit. I mean, Richie obviously had that one where he lost the ball and then just clattered into the player.
Yeah, just unusual.
Real lack of discipline first half.
Yeah, I think there was just a lot of frustration there that was showing, because they couldn't play. I don't know what. I don't quite know what Luton did to break the play up, but I think the Pompey players were just frustrated that they couldn't really get the ball to each other. Maybe it was just maybe it was the pitch. I don't know, because the pitch was awful, and that was at least to blame for a few of Murphy's. I mean, a couple of corners, but that's unforgivable, isn't it? A couple of corners that he didn't even make the near post.
Well, I watched the. I thought I'd watch the lowlights again earlier on, and it was. I think it was about a minute and a half long, and one of them was Ogilvy's header, not the one right at the end where he should have scored. The one where somebody lofted it into the penalty spot, and he just sort of tried to flick it on, and it went into the keeper's hands. That was one of the highlights. Yeah. Do you remember it well? That was one of the highlights of the game. I think Luton's goal was their highlight, and I think that was about it. Oh no, and the one where Al-Shish put the ball through to Murphy in the first half, and the defender slipped, and Murphy almost got it. That was a highlight.
Yeah. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
Good ball that from Al-Shish.
Yeah, that shows how bad the game was, though, wasn't it? It was just...
On the subject of Al-Shish, how much do you think... he had a few nice touches, but he hasn't got the physical presence of Callum Lang, has he? I think that's quite a miss for us. What do you think?
His highlight was that ball that he sprayed out from the left-hand side all the way over to, was it Richie or Swanson that was running down the right wing? He switched the ball like from one side of the pitch to the other. I think it was Richie, put Richie in for a cross, which is an amazing ball. He had a few nice touches, but it's difficult, isn't it? Working like when they're so used to having Lang in that position, working with someone that's just got a completely different style of play.
Yeah. I was quite surprised we didn't bring Potts on, considering we seemed to be. We obviously didn't create much. Potts is pretty creative, isn't he, from that centre midfield, more so than Dazelle or Hayden. But he brought Devlin on for Hayden, which I thought was a bit of a strange move. Again, I assume it's for the physicality, but
yeah, I thought it was a bit strange that he didn't come on. I would like to have seen him. Like you say, he's our sort of most attacking out of all those players, the most attacking midfielder, isn't he? Hayden's very defensive. Dazelle's very defensive. And we needed something, didn't we? We needed something else going forward. Although he did play two up top, didn't he?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah. What did you think of Yengi when he came on?
Yeah. Good, wasn't he?
Good.
Yeah.
He likes to step over, doesn't he?
He likes to step over. Likes to slow the game down. I don't know. It was all right, wasn't he?
It was just one of those games. No one really.
I like the look of Gordon actually. First 5 minutes,
right,
first 5 minutes he got at them and had a few nice touches. I think a decent ball into the box that nobody connected with. But I think he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he certainly tried to put the ball in the box, didn't he? As often as he could. So
yeah, he was quite direct getting it in quite early, wasn't he? I can't remember if it was Gordon who was involved in this, but what was your view on or what are your thoughts? Not so much the view, because obviously it's a camera angle, but on the potential handball near the end for us.
Well, it was handball.
Clearly, it's his hand.
Yes, But I don't know. I think it's harsh.
It would have been a soft one, do you think?
Yeah.
It was softer than the penalty that they should have had, I think.
That they should have had,
Yeah. Mm.
And they're both around the same sort of time, weren't they? I think ours was just after their one, wasn't it? Quite shortly after their one, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think you can complain too much that he did.
Fair enough. Okay, so the good news is we're still 8 points above the drop. Everyone's pretty much on the same games now, aren't they, as well? I think maybe Plymouth are the only ones that, because obviously they played in the FA Cup, so they've maybe got a game in hand, but most teams are now on the same games played. Next up is Leeds. That's going to be a tricky one, isn't it?
Easy.
Even though it's at home, it's going to be tricky. What do we do about centre-back then? So obviously we Tolly said maybe Ogilvie in there. There are, I don't know if you saw in the news this week, the news highlighted 13 centre-backs who are currently available on free or unattached. Names such as James Tompkins, they're all a little bit old. Eric Peters is in there. Dan Potts, brother of Freddie Potts, is in there. So Kieran Clark is another one.
Jason Cundy, is he there?
Jason Cundy,
Daniel
Lamar is in there as well. There's a few good options that Daniel Lamar, former Leicester, former Leicester centre back. So there are a few options there. The issue, obviously, you've got there though. If you start looking at them, is getting them up to match fitness. None of them have played this season.
Oh, that's it.
Or played very rarely. Some of them have also had long-term injuries previously. So you definitely don't want to be looking at someone like that, do you?
No. How does that work then? That we can just get more players in? Because I thought, I'm showing my stupidity here, but I thought
no, not at all.
Transfer window had closed, and
I think if they're on a free, you can bring them in, but we'd still have to deregister players, wouldn't we? So players.
Well, we've got one space available in the squad at the moment.
You've still got the one.
We've only got 24 players registered at the moment. You could deregister a player who's going to be, because they did that with who was it we bought in. Was it? Oh yeah, that's right. So Boat was obviously out for the season, so they deregistered him and bought in Colby Bishop, didn't they? So, but yeah, we do have one space available at the moment. But yeah, anyone who's not attached. Who, me?
You used to play centre back, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Ski boost.
I'm available and I'm cheap.
Yeah.
Just as I'm prone to the odd injury, so I'm perfect. And crap.
Slightly quicker than Pack.
Yeah, what would come first, the red card or the broken leg?
the red face.
Yeah, that'll be during warm up. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some option. Any of those names take your fancy? Tompkins, Peters, Amati.
Well, they've all got Premier League, Championship. Yeah, they're all centre backs. Championship, Premier League experience, but it's like you say, it's match fitness, isn't it? And it's slotting into the team. It's getting used to how the team play. So I don't know. I think it's all a bit desperate, isn't it?
There's been a bit of talk about putting Isaac Hayden back there, isn't there? What do you think of that?
Not keen.
Christ.
Yeah, he's played a few games for Newcastle, didn't he, at centre back during Steve Bruce's reign? I think he played about 6 or 7 games at centre back, and ultimately, I suppose that was Championship level. But it's not. It's difficult, isn't it? I suppose that he's as experienced as Pack is at centre back, I guess. So
yeah,
it's an option. He's big. He doesn't seem to be the best header of the ball, though, does he, for a big lad?
No.
So that'd be a bit of a worry. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to find an answer soon, don't we? Because we've got Atkinson's out for 6 to 8 weeks. You've still got Shaughnessy out for another 6 to 8 weeks. Matthews is out for the season.
I think he'll stick with it as it is. He'll stick with Poole and Pack.
Yeah, I think
you're right. So there you go. Defeat to Luton Town. That's their first win in the 13th attempt. Yeah, so we knew it was going to happen, though, didn't we? Kind of semi-called it last week.
Yeah, the game was poor. Everything about it was poor. So I think it's best we forget about that and move on.
Yeah, move on to Leeds. We'll be back with a Leeds preview later in the week. Just very quickly, we put out on socials a free word review of the game. So there's a couple of free word reviews from people who follow us. Sheila Scott Parker says, must do better. Carly Elizabeth Blake says, shouldn't have lost. Fair play to whoever put in have and not of. And Ian Burdett says, play Riley Towler. Oh, so there's one person. A few people are after Towler to come back in, aren't they? But yeah.
Well, I think, he is a centre back. Pack isn't.
Yes.
So.
And he's left side of centre back, which is what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we will be back later in the week with a Leeds preview, but for now, we have been the Poppy Pod. Why not subscribe to our channel or follow us, or do all those things you can do on Spotify or the other audio places. Hit the subscribe and bing, bing, ding, ding the bell, whatever you do, the bell. I don't know.
Sound like the crazy frog, Mike.
Yeah, Axel F. That's it. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.